Hello, travelers, and welcome once more to my realm, in between dreams and reality. It is I, the foolish king, or the pale worm, or Rim, for those who still don't know how to say it correctly. Anywho, today is something long overdue. Part 2 of What If. Izuku Midoriya, aka Deku, was Shadow the Hedgehog. So, let us begin this story. Hold on. Sorry about that terrible incident, folks. But anyways, let us begin with the video. Where we last left off was in space, as we saw, well, pretty much a decillion aliens heading towards Earth. That's a lot of aliens about to cause a lot of damage. But anyways, let us begin. As we see Izuku Midoriya, or just as he is known, Izuku, running in the streets of Japan, homeless, in the dark alleyways. Hold on. Sorry about that. Anywho, let us continue with the what if. Hold on. Sorry about that. Had my brother literally over my shoulder breathing weirdly and heavily while I was trying to record. But he's gone now, so we can begin. For real this time. We see Deku, or Izuku, running through the shadows of downtown Japan, where he then, until he sees a fight happening of what he can only guess to be some sort of giant blob-like human and what he can only assume to be EA. Well, that's strange. A man with yellow hair standing up and in a yellow, white, red, and blue outfit that looks extremely tight for something like spandex. As Deku, being confused, watches the events. He sees the man reel his fist back and punch the crap out of the giant green blob, blasting it back to infinite reaches away, to infinite amounts away, blasting all of the parts of this goo-like human apart, creating a huge, large explosion, leaving a boy who was knocked out on the ground. Izuku was confused. Who was that guy? What was that he just did? And what was that weird blob? So many strange questions pulsed through Deku's brain when suddenly he saw a man with black hair and red eyes, and with long black hair and red eyes, spot him. The man rushed at Deku. Deku had recalled seeing this man earlier, as the man tried to stop him before. But Deku was too fast and powerful. The man used some sort of gray scarf, or constricting weapon on Deku to try and stop him. However, almost instantly, as if it was like, what's it called? Instant transmission, or some sort of teleportation. Hold on. As it appeared that Deku had almost instantly glitched out of the capture weapon in his grasp, as the man who was chasing him, Aizawa, had his eyes wide open and held his eyes open. As Izuku then seeming as if it was unconsciously, Izuku then said the words, "Chaos Bolt," and sent what could only be guessed as a green and yellow blast of energy, a spear made of energy at Aizawa. Sorry, not Chaos Bolt, Chaos Spear. Aizawa, of course, could not react fast enough and got blasted backwards into a wall. However, before Izuku could escape, he then heard "One for All, United States of Smash," as then, and what could only be guessed as a fist quite literally coming out of nowhere would punch Deku right in the face. However, Deku didn't even move a centimeter, as he then grabbed All Might by his arm and spun him around, throwing him around like a rag doll. As Izuku kept beating the absolute crap out of him, when suddenly a boy rushing down the alleyway then said, Head, question, what's your quirk? As Izuku then said, What's a quirk? As his eyes then turned pale white, as he then stopped attacking. As the heroes looked at Izuku in confusion, then looked at the boy then said, Sorry, I know I'm not supposed to use my quirk out in public, but it looks like the #1 hero needed it. You were getting tossed around like a rag doll against this guy. My quirk is called Mind Wipe. Well, it's a sort of hypnosis / mind control. I ask a person a question, if they answer, I can control their mind. All Might and Aizawa looked amazed and said, That's a very nice quirk. Not very combat-oriented, but still very nice. As All Might then, and as Aizawa then said, let's put these on this boy so he doesn't try to do anything. As they put handcuffs on Deku, Quirk canceling, as they obviously tried to cancel whatever quirk he had. However, Aizawa, almost instantly recognizing him, then said, "The cuffs will not work. It appears this boy's not even human." But more such, what can be only guessed as a Mobian hedgehog, which is a long-dead prehistoric creature. They were revered as gods by tribes of cavemen. The only thing that can distract them is a chili dog, as that appears to be their favorite snack, which is why we had Lunch Rush prepare 50 corn dogs and 50 chili dogs. As they brought Deku to UA. Where he would then wake up in what could only be guessed as a silver box room. As he then said, Where am I? Who took me here? Huh? Where am I?" As suddenly a door opened up, revealing what could only be guessed as a mouse man and a small white mouse bear creature. As Nezu then said, "Greetings. My name is Principal Nezu of UA. A hi. And you are?" As Izuku would then say, "I'm Izuku. Or I think I am. I don't really remember much." As Nezu then said, "Then tell me, Izuku, where are you from?" As Izuku then said, "I don't remember that either. I remember almost nothing before the thing happened." As Nezu, looking intrigued, said, "What thing?" As Izuku then said, "A battle. It appeared to be two giant men, hulking with muscle, full in power. One man had white hair and red eyes, and a creepy, terrifying smile. The other had weird yellow hair, and a strange outfit. The two men clashed fists, and I remember waking up in front of them, confused as hell. However, it looked like the two men were pretty badly beaten. So, I ran away, out of fear of whatever beat them." As Nezu then said, "It appears that it was you who beat them. You beat them in your sleep, is what it appears." As Izuku then said, "What? How? I'm not that strong. I'm just a kid." As Nezu would then say, "Well, according to video footage, you defeated both All Might and All for One with your bare hands, and blasting them around with what appears to be spears made of energy. As Izuku then said, I don't know how that happened, honestly. As Nezu then said, young man, could you please use your quirk on him again? As Shinzo would then say, alright, how is your day? As Izuku would then say, strange. However, this time, his eyes would not turn white. As Nezu would then say, is something supposed to be happening? As Shinzo would then say, my quirk, it isn't working. As Izuku then said, huh, what's a quirk? As he then said, All Might, try punching him again without your quirk. As he then said, okay. As All Might punched Izuku in the arm, as Izuku's arm was bent back pretty hard, as Nezu and as Izuku's arm bent and back into position, as he then said, what was that for? As Nezu then said, now try punching him again, the same exact spot, with the same exact amount of force. All Might, not understanding what this was for, punched him, and punched Izuku, but it had no effect this time. As Nezu then said, it seems that he instantly builds up a resistance against something once it's used on him once. Say, All Might, how did the creature, and how did he bust out of the hyper chamber when you first, the cryo chamber when you first found him? As All Might then said, me and All for One were fighting, and I used a one for all smash, which All for One dodged, and it hit the chamber. As Nezu then said, based on that news, I've deducted that your quirk hit him once, and since it only worked on him once, when you try to use it another time, his body instantly reacts to it, and deflects all possible damage, negating any harm towards himself. As All Might then said, so let me get this straight. We can only affect him with something once, and then it's completely negated and then all damage or effect of that thing is negated from him. As Nezu then said, precisely. However, since he doesn't have a quirk, Aizawa's quirk never worked on him to begin with. However, if he were to somehow achieve a quirk, Aizawa's quirk wouldn't work on him now. So, it's actually quite an interesting concept. In other words, he has potential to be immune to every single quirk, weapon, and way of harm imaginable. And as we saw, you bent and broke his arm. You bent his arm backwards and broke it, which I'm pretty sure would be permanent damage. However, instantly healed as well. So I can only guess there is an extremely high regeneration factor. Meaning that no matter what harm is done to him, even on the first try, it will be reversed. And then if that same thing is pulled again, he'll just negate all damage. As Nezu, as All Might would then say, how is that even possible? No one has a quirk like that. As you would then say, you're forgetting. This is not a quirk, but instead, a alien, a hyper-intelligent being. A hyper-intelligent Mobian hedgehog and alien hybrid. From the looks of it, he appears to be some sort of royalty as well, as no ordinary traveler would have those medallions on them. Plus, those strange insignias on what appear to be black scarves or sashes look very ancient and royal. Possibly a family symbol of some sort. Plus, he has a whole bunch of gold on him. That should speak for itself. He is a sort of royal creature that somehow found its way to Earth. We do not know what its purpose for going to Earth was originally. As Izuku then said, "Excuse me, what are you talking about?" As Nezu would then say, "Young man, you are aware that you are not human at all, right? You are an extraterrestrial being from another world." As Izuku then said, "What does that mean?" As Nezu then said, "It means you're not human, meaning you are of a different race than us, a different creature, a new creature to be exact." As Nezu would then say, "Do you have anywhere to stay?" As Izuku would then say, "I live in a place filled with garbage cans and trash bags, and then of course people that come and smoke cigarettes, then leave back into their back into their homes behind doors." As he then said, "You mean you've been living in the dark alleyways for as long as you can remember?" As Izuku then said, "Pretty much. It gets lonely." As Nezu then said, "How would you like to live here? We could also help you with training yourself." As Izuku then said, "Sure, what is this place called?" As Nezu then said, "UA High School." As Deku then said, "What is a school?" We skip 1 hour later of a long, boring conversation between Nezu and Deku. As Deku would then say, then I guess. Then I guess so." As Nezu would then say, "Perfect. Your room is you will be going into class 1A. Alright?" As Izuku would then say, "Alright." As he would then walk to a classroom next to an extremely large door. As he'd then say, and as Aizawa would then say, "Hello everyone, this is Izuku Midoriya, and this is Izuku." He appears to be he is not normal. He does not have a quirk, but he's not weak at all. Also, refrain from using your quirks on him. If at him until we say so. As Izuku here has a special trait about him, even though being quirkless. As Bakugo would then say, "What do you mean, special trait? The quirkless are weak and useless." As he'd then chuckle. As I would then say, "Young Bakugo, what have I told you about using that type of those mannerisms in this class, along with that disgraceful language? Quirks. After all, a quirk is not everything. And just because you have a good one does not mean you get the whole world handed to you on a silver platter." As Aizawa would then say, "Anywho, Izuku, please show them what I mean. Young Bakugo, use your quirk on Izuku to whatever degree you want." As he'd then say, "Alright, fine." As Bakugo would then say, "Take this." As he'd then create an extremely large explosion at Deku, as it would send him hurling into the wall. However, Izuku would almost instantly be perfectly fine. Even any burn or cinch marks on his fur would be instantly negated, as he'd then say, "What was that for?" As Aizawa would then say, "Now, Bakugo, try using your quirk to any extremity, to the largest extremity possible." As he'd then say, "Alright, howitzer impact!" As he'd then jump up as high as he could in the classroom and would create an extremely large explosion, which caused other people to have small burn marks on themselves. However, Izuku walked up perfectly fine, as Bakugo then said, "What the hell? He didn't even regenerate that time. How is that even possible?" As Aizawa would then say, as I was saying, Izuku here has an amazing trait about himself that is not a quirk. You see, he has an extremely high and fast regenerative factor. However, anytime anything such as a quirk or way of harm or anything is used on him, it regenerates or affects him, such as a mind control quirk. It will affect him the first time. However, the second time, his body will have gotten used to the effect and will instantly negate it from doing anything to him. Pretty much, if you are new and just started fighting him, you only have one shot of using your quirk on him. And only your quirk. As All Might tried using his fists without his quirk on him, and Izuku is now immune to physical, normal attacks. Meaning, your quirks are probably your only hope against beating him in combat. Also, Izuku was capable of throwing All Might around like a rag doll, as everyone went wide-eyed and said, "How's that even possible?" As they then said, "We don't know." But anyways, I want all of you to go outside. We're going to redo the quirk assessment to see where all of you are through the year so far, and to see Izuku's skills. As they then said, okay, as they walked to the locker rooms. As we zoom out far away from the Earth, as we see the Nemesis, a ginormous spaceship hurling towards the Earth. As we go to the bridge of the spaceship, as we see a woman standing at the front with both of her hands holding each other behind her back. As she then said, any progress? As they then said, and as one of the people she was talking to, her daughter, then said, yes, mother. We've located the pod, we've located the craft, and it most definitely is a Black Arms pod. Also, we did a DNA trace on it, and it most definitely was Izuku's. Meaning that he somehow crash landed on Terra. And is somewhat free. But also, he is out. And possibly with amnesia. As Izuku's mother, other than clenched her fist and said, what is amnesia? As the woman known as Eclipse would then say, amnesia is a mental, appears to be when all of your memories are kind of poof, and kind of go poof, out of existence. You can't remember anything. This angered Kenna, as she then said, what? You're telling me that my sweet baby boy doesn't even remember his own mother? And he's stuck on a world of lower life forms? As Kenna's flesh started to mutate, started to transform and shapeshift a bit. As Eclipse then said, Mother, calm down. Don't go into your devil doom state, okay? As she then said, fine. But tell me as much as possible about Terra. As Eclipse then said, alright. From what we have learned, Terra used to be a world of, Moby and Hedgehog. Used to be a world that somehow Moby and Hedgehogs got across to. And they went and most of them went extinct on that planet. However, it also appears that they have bipedal creatures called humans there. After hundreds of years and after millions of years in evolution, they've gained abilities they've gained miraculous powers. Each is different for every single human. However, only 80% of them have it. They call these powers quirks. There are multiple different sides. The four main sides are heroes, villains, vigilantes, and, well, civilians. Civilians are the weakest of the weak. The people who don't train at all. The people who just sit by the sidelines and don't fight at all. The background characters, if you will. As Kenna then said, and what of the villains? As Eclipse then said, well, the villains appear to be the harmful ones. They cause as much chaos and destruction as possible for fun. Pretty much what we are. And then there's vigilantes, which are like heroes, but they can kill people. As Kenna then said, what do you mean, are like heroes? As Eclipse then said, yes. Heroes, the final of the four. They protect others. They're the defense. They're able to help the community and defeat villains. However, they cannot kill them and merely put them in containment cells until they break out. As Kenna would then say, sounds boring. Ugh. And what of Izuku? As Eclipse then said, that is the problem. It appears that he is with heroes. And due to his fragile state, when we get there, he might think of us as villains and try to harm us. And none of us are strong enough to be able to knock him out, or to beat him and knock him out on our own. As Kenna would then say, I did not want to do this, but I guess I'm left with no choice. Do you still have it? As she looked at another one of her daughters. Now known as Skoria. As Skoria then said, yes, mother. As she would then hand her what appeared to be a vial of something of some sort of black and red liquid. As Eclipse would then say, what is this? As Kenna would then say, this, yes, my dear daughter, is Izuku's blood, or the DNA of him when he was here, when he was perfect, not memoryless and infected by those weak lower life forms. When he was still, fun and a ruthless warrior who wanted to do nothing but conquer a world. As Kenna then said, And as Eclipse then said, why would you take a bit of his blood? As Kenna would then say, in case something like this were to happen. I also created a machine. I also recreated, but better, the exact machine used to create Izuku, and used to give birth to Izuku, or in a way, create him. It's the behold, as she would then show them a very large sort of contraption. As she would then say, it requires these 7 gems, as she would then show them, and show her daughters. 7 gems embedded into the machine, as she would then say. Finally, it requires a bit of my blood. Finally, it requires a bit of blood, or 2 blood types to merge together. However, since Izuku's blood is already to merge together, it will work. With using this, and of course, using our skills of dark magics, and using our dark magics, we can speed up the process to seconds. We can create a clone of Izuku. Of course, a feminine one. After all, we do not want to replace him. After all, only Izuku is the real Izuku. Only the real Izuku, is enough to satisfy us. As the daughters would then say, so, we will have another sister? As Keno would then say, yes, she will be as perfect as Izuku. Like him in every way, except looks and gender. As she would then say, and while we've been talking, I took up the liberties of starting the machine. Speaking of which, voila! As she would then open the tank, revealing what could only be guessed as a black and red Mobian hedgehog. As they would then say, ooh. As she would then say, daughters, behold, your sister. I will call her name from now on will be Izura. Arise, daughter. As suddenly Izura would stand from the pod, as she would then say, yes, mother. As Keno would then say, your mission is a simple one. You must go to Earth. When we reach planet Earth, you must combat and knock out, not kill, knock out, or at least exhaust your younger brother. I'm your elder brother. The being which you were cloned from. In a way, I guess you could say he is your father. And I am your mother. You shall, after the task is done, you will bring him back to our warship. Or, at least, bring him back to his. As Izura would then say, yes, mother. Yes, mother. As she would then bow in respect. as we go to Izuku, who is at the Quirk assessment. As Aizawa then says, alright, the last part of the assessment, everyone but Izuku knows what this is. The ball throw. And the ball throw. Now, quite simply, you just have to throw this ball with all of your might. Got it? As everyone then nodded, including Izuku. I then said, begin. As Izuku would then grab the ball, and as everyone would already have gone, getting slightly higher scores than last time. As Izuku would then grab the ball, as he would then charge as much of his power, and as much of power as he could into it. The ball then started to glow jade green, surrounded with golden and jade green bolts of energy. As Izuku would then unconsciously say, Chaos Blast. As he would then send the ball, zooming faster than the speed of light, ripping a tear in the sound barrier and in the atmosphere, causing giant shock waves breaking almost anything glass nearby. The air pressure from the blast knocking off trees and buildings off of their feet. As the ball would hurl faster and faster and faster to the point where it would hit a planet outside of the solar system. It would then bounce off of that planet into the Nemesis, causing it to hurl towards the Earth faster. Now it was just outside of the solar system instead of 2 galaxies away. But no one knew that yet. As Izuku then said, how'd I do? As Aizawa would then say, you got it. Well, you destroyed them. Well, you broke the machine. So I can only guess that means you got it extremely high. So, yeah, very nice, Izuku. As he'd then say, thank you very much. As then a kid would then say, wait, walking from the back of the class, as he'd then say, sorry I'm late, sensei. I was sick today. But I heard there was a new student coming, so I couldn't be late. As Aizawa would then say, yes, Izuku, meet Amai Shuga. Which, if any of you speak Japanese, that means sweet sugar. Yeah. As Amai then said, hello, I'm Amai Shuga. My quirk is called glucokinesis. Pretend instead of saying she, it says he. Okay? he can completely shape and control Sheer at his will. At will, mostly moving his quirk, and mostly using his quirk to move large amounts for baking. However, he can also create solid 3D shapes and even form a crystallized sugar armor around himself or sharpen projectiles to fire at opponents. As he'd then say, "Sorry I'm late." As he'd then say, "Alright, fine. Now, please, do the ball throw." As he'd then say, "Alright." As suddenly, what could only be guessed as white crystals would spawn from Amai's forearm whilst holding the ball, as his entire right arm would then be surrounded with white sugary crystals, as he would then reel his arm back and would throw the ball. However, that was not all it, as a chain made of sugary crystals would be linked from the end of his palm towards the ball, as he began whipping it around at extremely fast speeds, creating what appeared to be a whirlwind, as he would then launch it. The ball being hurled into space, just barely touching the moon. As Izuku would then say, "Very good, Amai. You once again have proven you are extremely valuable member of this class. But I'm minusing 10, but I'm putting you in 10th place because you were late." As Amai then said, "Aw, man." As Izuku would then say, "Huh. Alright. Right. Hold on." As Izuku would then say, "Alright, I'm going to go to my dorm." As everyone else would head off to their dorms. However, 8 hours later, before Izuku could even fall, as Izuku was just about to fall asleep, all of UA would then shake, as the wall would then bust, and as the entire wall would then come crumbling down, as Izuku would see a giant metal spacecraft. As he'd then say, "What the?" As out of the metal spacecraft dropped one girl. She appeared to look, well, a lot like Izuku. As she would then say, "Do not worry. I'll be back in a jiffy with my brother in my hands." As Izuku would then prepare for battle, thinking a villain would be attacking, as all the alarms would begin blaring. All the heroes would be prepared for combat, as they would see what could only be guessed as a girl version of Izuku walking into the gates. Busting into UA. As Anne said, "What the?" As the girl would then say, "Halt, inferior life forms. I am Azura Doom, daughter of Kenna Doom, also known as Black Doom, leader and ruler of the Black Arms, the most ferocious and terrifying race of beings out there. We enslave, conquer, and destroy entire galaxies at our leisure. So, unless you don't want to be obliterated instantly, I suggest you give me what I want. As an Aizawa would then say, what is it that you even want? As she would then say, I'm glad you asked. I am here for two things. One, my brother Izuku. And two, his spacecraft. And two, his warcraft, which brought him to this cursed world. As Izuku, in confusion, then ran up to the girl. Earl, about to attack. I'm sorry, not Izuku. As Endeavor and All Might ran up to the girl trying to stop her, seeing that she was obviously evil. As out of nowhere, however, as it seemed like out of nowhere, however, the girl instantly dodged both of their strongest attacks. And she then said, pitiful. This is all your pitiful, weak race can muster? After millions of years, after millions of centuries of enhancement and genetic engineering? How pitiful. As she would then say, behold, the powers which I have been blessed with. As she would then say, Chaos Blast. As suddenly, a jade green and gold, a blast of pure energy would be sent hurling at all of the students and teachers. As Izuku would then rush in front of the blast, blocking it with his arm, which, of course, it would send him backwards. As he would say, as the pros would, of course, be just watching, as they're pretty useless in this situation. However, the other students would try, including Amai. Amai would rush over to the girl, then immediately surrounding his right arm with a white sugary crystallized claw. Out of it, and with it he would then rush at her and try to at least do some sort of damage, which would actually do much damage. He would claw off what appeared to be a part of her flesh. However, he did not even notice that almost instantly it started regenerating, as he tried to do the same thing again, but it was instantly negated. Hold on. As Amai would then say, what? As the girl, known as Azura, would then say, what? You didn't expect it to work on me twice, now did you? As she would then hold out her palm and would say, Chaos Spear, as a jade green and neon yellow bolt of energy would be sent hurling towards Amai. As Izuku, however, would hold on. Sorry about that. as Izuku would then, and at the speed of light, would charge right in front of the attack and would tank it on, as it would not do any damage to him. Due to him already being hit by a chaos spear already. As she would then say, so, brother, will I have to make this will I have to do this the easy way or the hard way? The easy way is simply knocking you out and taking you back to your warcraft. And the hard way is beating the crap out of you and then killing all of your friends. And all of the people here. So, what will it be? As Izuku would then say, how about option C? Neither. As he would then say, chaos control. As then it appeared as if time itself stopped. As he would then release a absolutely destructive 53-piece combo. Hold on. As Azura would then use chaos control as well, stopping time around her, causing both her and Deku to be in this stopped time state where everything is frozen still but them. As the two would then begin releasing absolutely destructive combos. Initially, they would begin blasting even their strongest attacks. She would be whipping out the chaos spears and, of course, chaos bolts, as Izuku would do the same with chaos blasts. She's also doing the chaos blasts. As they're also flying and absolutely shrekking all of UA right now. The battle, however, would end as expected. As Izuku, having amnesia, obviously forget every single war or combat-related thing that he knew, causing him to, be weaker than his sister in terms of skill, as he would then begin crashing down, as creating a large crater in the middle of the ground. As Izuku's sister would then say, do I have to make things get ugly, or are you going to come with me? As Izuku would then say, never! As he would then rush up to his sister, preparing what appeared to be a large bomb-like attack in his palm, as his sister would then do the same. As the two were about to... well, no, not the same. His sister would basically do a extremely overpowered version of a yellow and green Chidori. As Amai, just sitting there, now that would try to block and would try to at least lessen the destructive impact around everyone. As he would then create extremely large crystallized walls made of sugar, as he would then say, sugar wall! Trying to block the impact of the two attacks. However, it was too late, as his wall would be holding for quite a good while. However, the blast would immediately destroy it, and would ultimately destroy it. Pretty much imagine the scene where Naruto and Sasuke are throwing a Chidori at each other and they're flying, and it's actually really cool and reminiscent of a lot of other things. And then giant explosion happens. Like that, pretty much. And that is why I'm ending this part off on a large-ass cliffhanger. So, I hope y'all enjoyed. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. I'll see y'all later. Goodbye, and, skadoosh.